Chapter 10. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Mishesh, and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan: Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. And the sons of Ham: Cush, and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush: Seba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Ramah, and Sabticha. And the sons of Ramah: Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Out of that land went forth Ashur, and builded Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth, and Calah, and Rezin between Nineveh and Calah. The same is a great city. And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistim, and Caphtorim. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterwards were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar, unto Gaza, as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim, even unto Laishah. These are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth the elder, even to him were children born. The children of Shem: Elam, and Ashur, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram. And the children of Aram: Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber. And unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan begat Almodad, and Sheleph, and Hazar-maveth, and Jerah, and Hadaram, and Uzal, and Diklah, and Obah, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan, and their dwelling was from Mesha, as thou goest unto Saphar, a mount of the east. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. This is a recap of Chapter 10. Chapter 10 is mostly an epic catalog, and some of these can be confusing because it took me a while to decipher myself. These are Noah's generations. Noah had three sons: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Japheth is the first lineage that we go into detail about, and his sons are Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshesh, and Tiras. Gomer is Japheth's son, or Noah's grandson. His sons are Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. In verse 4, we detail Javan's lineage. Javan is one of Japheth's sons, one of Noah's grandsons. Javan's sons are Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Verse 5 says these family lineages divide the Gentiles. Each family had their own tongue. So, right here, this means dialect instead of language because later on we're going to discuss the Tower of Babel, and everyone had one language. So, these families had to just have their own dialect, slang, but it couldn't be a completely different language if we have the Tower of Babel coming up. Verse 6, Ham, or Noah's son, we detail his lineage. His sons are Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan. In verse 7, we detail Cush's lineage. Cush is Ham's son. Cush, his children are Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, Saptishad, and Nimrod. Rama is Cush's son. His sons are Sheba and Dedan. Verse 8 and 9 talks about Nimrod, which is one of Cush's sons, and Ham's grandson, and Noah's great grandson. Nimrod was a mighty hunter, he had a kingdom, and the cities of his kingdom encompassed Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh. These are all cities within the landmass Shinar. So, Ashur, that's Shem's son, or Noah's grandson. Ashur built Nineveh, Rehoboth, and Calah. He also built the city Resen, which is in between Nineveh and Calah. So Ashur was living in the landmass of Shinar. Ashur was living in the landmass Shinar and built these cities. Then we have Mizraim, Ham's son. His lineage is Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, and Caphtorim. Casluhim had a son, Philistim. Then we go back to Canaan and detailing his lineage. Canaan is Ham's son. Canaan had the sons Sidon and Heth, and their lineage produce these groups of people in verse 16: the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgasite, the Hivite, the Archite, the Sinite, the Arvatite, the Zimmerite, the Hamathite. Those are all of Canaan's family lineages. And then verse 19 details which cities the Canaanite borders touch on. These cities include Sodom, Gomorrah, and 6 other cities. Verse 22, Shem. Shem is Noah's son. Shem had the sons Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. Ashur is Shem's son that built Nineveh, Rehoboth, and Calah. And then we detail the lineage of Aram's son in verse 23. Aram is Shem's son, or Noah's grandson. The sons of Aram are Uz, Hul, Gaither, and Mash. Then we detail the lineage of Arphaxad. Arphaxad is Shem's son. Arphaxad has Selah, and Selah has Eber. Then we detail the lineage of Eber. Eber is Arphaxad's grandson and Selah's son, Shem's descendant. So Eber had Peleg and Joktan, and Peleg was named his name because it says in his the earth were divided. So he was named during an event that was occurring on earth. His name was reflecting what was happening on earth. Then we detail the lineage of Joktan. Joktan is Shem's great-grandson, and Shem is Noah's son. Joktan had Almadad, Jaleph, Hazarmoeth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. Verse 30 outlines their land from Mesha to Sephor. So this is the account, the epic catalog of Noah after their generations and how they were divided after the flood. Now we will move on to chapter 11,